Hey, good morning, guys. Welcome to the Diamond District. So today I wanted to focus on two things that I really noticed that have been detrimental to my growth as a person, as a human being, and I'm pretty sure you're probably doing it as well. So the first one is comparison. Now, this morning I was listening to my audiobook, Psycho-Cybernetics, which deals with the issues of self-image and how to change that, etc. It was kind of getting into how a superiority and an inferiority complex are developed. And it's essentially developed when you are comparing yourself to someone else's standards, or you exist under someone else's standards, and you see that you're not meeting them. So you develop this sense of inferiority. And I was finding myself doing that yesterday. We had this drawing assignment. It was to draw a 2-point perspective. And as I was doing it, I started to kind of get a bit frustrated because, at first it was cool, but then I got to an object I couldn't really make out. When I finally got it, I was like, great. And then the third one, when I was looking into how to make like a 2-point perspective cylinder, I was like, I don't really understand what I'm looking at, and I only have like a few hours to really turn this in. So I kind of like freestyled the last object, really turned it into more of like a 2-point perspective sculpture building type shit. So when I submitted it, whenever I submit an assignment, I'll look at what other people did, and I was just blown away by the advancedness of my classmates. Like, I'm over here just drawing shapes. This guy drew a house from a 2-point perspective. Another person drew like a chair. It was just different things. And I was like, yo, what the fuck? I don't think I'm gonna pass this class. This is only week 2. So this morning, I really kind of carried that energy over because I was just so frustrated. And then, I wake up this morning, I'm working out, and I hear the statement of just like, you are just you. There are things that other people can do that you can't, but there's things that you can do that other people can't. So you just have to more so focus on who you are and what your standards are. In reality, I'm doing really great considering I did not know what a 2-point perspective was the day before yesterday. I'm doing pretty great considering the fact that I didn't know what a 1-point perspective was until last week. And the fact that I'm learning how to use Adobe Illustrator, the fact that I'm in architecture school, like these things relative to me and my life and the things that I've been through is wonderful. This is a huge bonus. This is a huge plus. This is a sign of growth. But because I am comparing myself to other people and where they are and what they've done, I'm fucking kicking myself like, why didn't you do this? Or why didn't you take the time to, it's just all this stuff where it's not helping. And this is where the quote, comparison is a thief of joy. Because you're so focused on what other people got going on, you don't even have time to appreciate what you've done. And are there things that I could have done better? Yeah. Could I have prepared more? Yeah. Could I have set more time in my day to practice more drawing? I could have done all of those things. But just because I didn't does not take away from the fact that I am doing something I've never done before. And that in itself is growth. So if you're out there kind of comparing your progression to somebody else's, knock that shit off. Cut that shit off. It's not gonna help you. It's not gonna help you at all. Now, if you're doing it to see where you're deficient, because not for nothing, by also comparing what I'm doing, I'm like, I'm not being imaginative enough. I'm not being as detailed enough. I need to tighten up on that. That's great, but when it starts to get to the point of just like, I'm not as good as them, or that's when it's not helpful at all. That's when it's not helpful at all. The only time comparison is helpful is when you're more so checking to see what you're deficient at. Once it goes past that, you're essentially just demoralizing yourself, and there's absolutely no need for you to do that because you are such an amazing, powerful, creative individual that you have so much to offer to the world. But when you just so more focus on what you're not doing, then That's really all your energy is going to go towards, everything you're not doing, instead of charging yourself up on the things that you are. And the second thing would be dwelling on the past. So during this journey, I think it's day 84 if I'm not mistaken. On this journey, I've been very conscious of all right, I really don't want to repeat past behaviors. I want to make sure that this change that I'm making in my life is going to be permanent. It's going to be lasting. It's not just going to be for a couple months and then something happens and I break down emotionally and I just go back to doing what I was always doing. I made this commitment to myself. I made a covenant with myself that I was I will never go back to the way I was. I will never repeat those habits. I'll never do any of those things because I need to just keep moving forward in life. I'm not trying to have the same problems. This covenant was powerful for me because it helped me make a lot of different strides. But once I started getting to the place of progress, I started to really worry about I don't want to slip up and go back to the way I was. I feel like it's happening. And because I kept talking about it, oh, it's happening, it's happening, it's happening. So when I started slipping, I wasn't surprised. And unbeknownst to me, what I was doing was I was feeding into the possibility of it occurring. So it occurred. Well, it didn't entirely occur because I didn't entirely slip. I just wasn't on top of the things that I normally would be on top of. But I've still been consistent in everything. So my energy and focus was going into the wrong things entirely, where I was beating myself about past mistakes and I was holding myself accountable to the things that I did in the past. But the person I was in the past is not the person I am now. So the second thing that you have to stop doing is bringing up the past, bringing up who you used to be, bringing up what you used to do. If you're focused on not being that person anymore, then don't worry about what that person did. Worry about what you're going to do today. Worry about what you're going to do tomorrow. Worry about what you're going to do in the next hour. I was so focused on all the things that I didn't do and haven't done that I wasn't planning on the next moment. When you're so focused on the past, you've completely changed your eyes, your perspective, your everything is focused on nothing you can change, when it needs to focus on everything that you can change, which is the present moment. So stop beating yourself up. Stop comparing yourself to others. Focus on what you're doing. Focus on the task you have at hand. Focus on the person you are now. Focus on the person you are today. And focus on the person you're going to be tomorrow. Let go of the past. I hope this reaches you.